It's early 1991, and me and Ren decided that we should make our own television show. There was the Ren and Stimpy show. Stimpy was a real idiot, so we decided not to do a live action show and make it a cartoon. But then we had to hire cartoonists, and it cost lots of money. Shortly afterwards, a studio called Spunko decided to make the cartoon. But what they didn't know was this wasn't the real studio. No, sir, it was not. As we couldn't actually find the actual studio, I don't know. We looked up the address on the internet and found pictures of it being abandoned. After we went to it, we found nothing. Stimpy and I never went to the studio. The writers told us not to ever go there and just stay here. So we never really knew what was making all of this animation, and never will know. I'm live here at the studio, and I don't see anything, but I see a lot of broken windows and stuff and graffiti, so obviously we weren't the last ones here. In the 90s, people probably were still coming in here after Ren and Stimpy stopped airing on Nickelodeon. The only actor from the show was, well, Mr. Horse. I mean, he was a horse, and yeah, I don't know, but anyway, he went in there almost every day, and then one day suspiciously went missing. No one ever really knows what happened to Mr. Horse. All we know was wherever he is now is not a good place, and never, ever left the factory. We still found his coat, but only years later we actually found out what really happened to him. We don't know exactly what happened to him. All we know is he went missing in the factory and never came out. We're really surprised at where he went, and we'll never know exactly where he is. I think the reason why Mr. Horse went missing is they must have captured him in the basement or something. He always squealed secrets about the factory, about who got hurt, who got sued, and what was going to happen next. So we don't really know exactly why, but we can think that the reason why was because he talked way too much and squealed about everything. Mr. Horse went missing around when it was aired on Nickelodeon instead of MTV. We couldn't find a replacement for Mr. Horse, so we got his twin brother. Sounded like him, but it still wasn't the original Mr. Horse. A lot of people commented that he sounded different on websites and medias and all that stuff. Again, it was the 90s, so there wasn't a lot of that, but there was still stuff out there. Even on the news, there was a report on it. So we don't really know what happened to him. After that, Ren decided to look in the factory. He just wanted to see if there was any proof of Mr. Horse or anything around. So we looked around there and saw absolutely nothing. Looking around, I saw nothing at all. His place was so boring. But I tried to look for Mr. Horse or any remains of the animation machine that we never saw. There was nothing. However, I did find something very, very interesting. But I just thought you... Shut up, you idiot! Ren had found an old computer from the 1970s. It still worked, but there was still flaws. What he wanted to do was play a tape that he found in the factory, a never-aired episode of Ren and Stimpy, completely animated. But when he pressed the button, it didn't even look like an episode of Ren and Stimpy. All it looked like was a bunch of, well, the computer screen and flashes of Ren and Stimpy's face, meaning that this computer wanted to see Ren and Stimpy and Ren and Stimpy only. So we don't know exactly how to explain this. So we sent Stimpy in the factory, as you saw in the interviews, to see what was going on. Stimpy was really shocked at what he saw in the factory. It wasn't anything too bad, but it was a lot of stuff they'd never seen, such as Ren and Stimpy unaired episodes. Ren has talked about these episodes before, and Stimpy has remembered voicing over some of them, but doesn't remember all of them, and it was shocking that he remembered almost all of them.
Poor Stimpy. Even though he's an idiot, he still doesn't deserve to see stuff like that. Also, I'm sorry, Stimpy, that episode didn't exist. I worked there, and I know it didn't exist. So stop putting freaking stuff on YouTube about it.
All good things don't last. Ren and Stimpy was having a lot of complaints at parents and single divorced moms. All kinds of people started complaining about how Ren and Stimpy worked. They didn't understand exactly what it was. They didn't understand how much of a good cartoon it was, and that all kids should almost grow up with this show, and how good the writing was. No one understood it. They thought it was too violent. They thought it was not for younger kids. And many parents were complaining about all the beating up. There was even an episode called Band's Best Friend that was originally supposed to air on Nickelodeon, but I think it did now that we are talking about this, but it ended up being removed because nobody can just take a joke as someone getting beat up. After this incident, Nickelodeon started to think about removing Ren and Stimpy, and so did Viacom, the evilest, most, I don't even know. It's an evil company, okay? And they decided to remove Ren and Stimpy, an evil company they were. Nowadays, Ren and Stimpy are not known at all because of their adult party cartoon reboot, which totally sucked. So now nobody even knows about Ren and Stimpy anymore because they don't even show it. Ren and Stimpy will be very well missed and forgotten by a lot of people, and a lot of people should remember this show because it was really good and it was actually well written and had a lot of smart humor in it. But they have to forget about it because moms can't keep their big mouth shut, and they have to complain about everything and how gross everything is and how gruesome. And the evil company Viacom decided to remove it. Viacom is an evil company, though. They don't want any proof of any of their cartoons existing on the internet. That's why they play it so late at Nick at Night. Viacom is so evil that if you use the word Ren and Stimpy titled in a video, they will decide to remove it. And I am not kidding. Trust me, like half of us have like YouTube channels and stuff, so you probably have a YouTube channel if you watch. Never mind that, but yeah, they won't remove anything with Ren and Stimpy, SpongeBob, Hey Arnold. If you even say that in the title, they will remove it, and Ren and Stimpy will then forgotten because of that. And now, me, Stimpson J. Cat, I am now going to find out what Spunko and Viacom were hiding all these years, and how we never got to see our own cartoon. Ladies and gentlemen, this may not be pleasing for young children, so get them out of the room. And why are they watching this anyway? Oh my god, the animation machine. Don't worry, Mr. Cat. This is only a lesson I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you this for being sketchy. Boy, Stimpy, we sure had fun today. So long, kids. Come on, Stimpy, say bye. Yeah, where are we going? The show's over. See you next time. Next time? When's that? Pretty soon, don't worry. Pretty soon? How long is that? In a little while, man. Little while? What do we do till then? Why, you could paint the grass, or shave the chickens, or we could make more interviews about the dark deeps of I forget the evil side of Viacom. That sounds good to me, Ren.